So you heard the term acceptance criteria thrown around in your organization, but you're not sure what it really means. Does everyone use it in the same way? And is it the same thing as the definition of done? Well, stick around and you'll find out soon. In this video, I will tell you about acceptance criteria and how they can help your business. Hi, I'm Beer, co-founder at Jexo, where we make work management effortless, fun, and accessible to everyone through education tools and awesome products. In this YouTube series, we talk about popular project management concepts, what they mean, and how, when, and why you should use them in your projects. People often get confused about acceptance criteria and how they can actually help grow a business. Hopefully, by the end of this video, you'll understand what they are and how to use them. Acceptance criteria is a term used in project management to refer to specific conditions that must be met for a project, product, or aspects within to be considered complete, such as sprint, user stories, and test cases. In other words, acceptance criteria is the set of requirements you must meet before being able to say that a certain task or project is finished. Typically, acceptance criteria will be based on the project objectives and can include things like delivering a working product, meeting specific deadlines, or satisfying customer requirements. Agreeing on good acceptance criteria upfront with a user reduces the risk of development not being done within expectations. Having good acceptance criteria is essential for keeping everyone on track as they know what's expected of them. It prevents misunderstandings and makes sure projects are completed on time and, of course, within budgets. Acceptance criteria also ensures that the solutions you're providing is high quality. It has to meet not only requirements of your clients, but the market as well. Creating acceptance criteria can be tricky. It's important to make sure they're clear and concise, yet comprehensive enough to cover all aspects of the project. The best way to create acceptance criteria is to work closely with the customer throughout the project so that you get clear understanding of their expectations. You can also use existing documentation such as requirements, documents, or design specs to help create your acceptance criteria. Once you've created your acceptance criteria, it's essential that everyone involved in the project understands them. Not just your customers, but also the team members who will be working on the tasks. Having a shared understanding of what is expected means that everyone on the team is in the same page. As I've mentioned already, acceptance criteria will help keep projects on track within timeframes and budgets while improving communication between team members and stakeholders. It ensures everyone's on the same page when it comes to success, which helps us avoid confusion and conflict. Some real-world companies that use acceptance criteria are the likes of Apple, Microsoft, and even Amazon. These companies use acceptance criteria successfully because they got a clear understanding of what their objectives are, and they're able to effectively communicate them to their teams. Apple, for example, is known for having stringent acceptance criteria. For a project to be considered complete, it must meet high standards set by Apple. This often can be difficult, true, but it helps ensure the highest quality for all of their products is met. Microsoft is also known for using strict acceptance criteria. They even have a document called the Software Development Requirements, which outlines their specific requirements for software development projects. This document is used as a guide to creating acceptance criteria for all of their projects. Another example is Amazon, which is known to be very customer-centric. They place a lot of emphasis on satisfying customer requirements. Their acceptance criteria reflects this very well, as it typically includes meeting specific deadlines or delivering a product that meets customer expectations. So acceptance criteria is a set of conditions that must be met for a project to be considered complete. But so is definition of done. What is the difference then? Well, acceptance criteria typically focuses on the end result, while the definition of done focuses on the process by which a project should be completed. In simple terms, definition of done is about building the product in the right way, while acceptance criteria is about developing the right product. Most of the times. Let me explain. The main difference between both lies in the scope. Definition of done applies to all of the work, while acceptance criteria typically is specific to individual pieces of work, often called user stories. They describe a certain requirement from the perspective of a customer. Acceptance criteria basically shows you what needs to happen in order to complete that individual user story or customer request. Definition of done, on the other hand, is used at a macro level. For example, in the definition of done, criteria is set at the user story level, then it applies to all of the user stories, which results in a process or common understanding across the team when it comes to quality and completeness of these stories. At the same time, each one of these user stories is unique and should, if done properly, reflect the perspective and needs of the user. For that to happen, we create metrics based on the criteria agreed upon between the user and the project team. These acceptance criteria set for each individual user story then become the basis for knowing whether a deliverable is user ready. Say you got a software project going on. For it to be considered complete, it has to meet the defined standards outlined in the definition of done document. And even if your project does meet the definition of done, it doesn't mean that your customer has accepted the software. Your customer might still have requirements to be met in order to consider the project complete, which is where acceptance criteria comes in. Another example can be found in the manufacturing industry. For a product to be considered finished, it has to meet all of the acceptance criteria specified. Clear. But it doesn't mean that your product is actually ready to be shipped to the customer. There might still be work left to complete before your product is sales ready. The product owner alongside the development team will typically discuss and agree on the definition of done before the project starts. But they'll discuss and agree on the acceptance criteria while planning each sprint and refining the backlog. To summarize, acceptance criteria is a set of conditions that must be met for a user or customer to accept your project or product. These conditions are unique to each user stories and should be testable with clear yes, no, or pass-fail results, clear and concise, and as straightforward as possible, while also written in the context of a real user experience. So, if you want to increase efficiency while avoiding the pain of confusion in your project, start using acceptance criteria today. For more on how to go about writing your acceptance criteria, check out our blog post on the topic. I've included some links in the description. Also, if you got any questions, please comment below and I'll make sure to answer each and one of them. Otherwise, here are some more videos to tackle project management terms many people struggle with. So should we get to PM level 9000?